Bonjour, welcome to another episode of Cuisine Michelle. I am Michelle. So today I'm going to be making a recipe that I've made before just once, I think, and I thought I should give it a try again. I remember these being pretty good the last time I made them. These are going to be hot cocoa cookies. Now, last year I made some that were hot cocoa crinkles, but these are different from those, so still a hot cocoa theme on the cookie, but not the same. So to make these cookies, these are the ingredients that you're going to need. You'll need unsalted butter. You actually need more than one stick. This is just for showing you the ingredients, but for now that's all you need. You don't need it to be softened, so don't worry about that part. You'll need 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, flour, unsweetened cocoa powder, baking powder, salt, brown sugar, eggs, vanilla extract, and then for later, when we do the icing part, you will need the powdered sugar. And one more ingredient I almost forgot is marshmallows. You're going to need approximately 25 large marshmallows. So the first step is going to be in a bowl. You could also do this in a saucepan on your stove if you want, but we're going to do this in the microwave just because it's easy, and as long as you're careful. Remember that if you're going to microwave chocolate, you need to be pulling it out and stirring it frequently. This is the butter, so you can see we have 1 stick of butter in here. So that's a ½ cup. And then we have all of the chocolate, the 12 ounces of chocolate is in here. We're going to be microwaving that in short intervals until it is melted. So I'm going to be taking it out and stirring it in between each interval. So I usually only go about 15 or 20 seconds before I go ahead and stir, and keep doing that until it's melted and smooth. Right, so that's what it looks like after we've gotten that melted, and we're just going to let that cool a little bit while we do the next few steps. So our next step, in a medium-sized bowl, you can measure out the all-purpose flour. You're going to want 180 grams, which is 1½ cups. Then I also added the cocoa powder, which is 21 grams or 1/4 cup. To that, I will also be putting in 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So we're just going to whisk that all together. And once you have that whisked together, then the next step is going to be with our electric mixer. All right, so here in the mixer, I've already added the ingredients we're going to need to mix together, which is 1¼ cups packed of brown sugar, 3 large eggs, and 1/2 tablespoon of the vanilla extract. So we're going to mix this together on low until it's combined. We're now going to be adding in that cooled chocolate mixture into the bowl, the whole thing. And then we'll mix that until it's all combined. So you really just have to get it just combined. It really doesn't take very long at all. And then our last step, we're going to be putting in our dry mixture. We can go ahead and leave this running and just add it gradually, a little at a time. That looks beautiful. I'm going to get that top part there mixed in. A little bit of powder that likes to sit there at the top. Get that mixed in here in just a second. And then once we've got that all mixed in, we're going to cover this and put it to the refrigerator to refrigerate for 1 hour. All right, so I've actually refrigerated the dough for a couple of hours because I need to make dinner and stuff. So now we're going to have our dessert. And to prepare for this, we're going to heat the oven to 325 degrees. It's probably going to ding in just a minute. And we're going to line our baking sheet with parchment. Then for this dough, which is definitely, see, I told you it was going to ding, which has definitely gotten plenty hard by now. We're going to be forming that into tablespoon size balls. You're not going to be able to use a cookie scoop or you might break your cookie scoop, so be careful if you do try that. So you just have to kind of guesstimate on what your tablespoon is going to look like there. I'm going to say that's about right. So we're going to be placing those on the cookie sheet about 2 inches apart. And then after you get them on there, you're going to want to flatten your ball just slightly. So I usually just use a couple fingers and kind of press into it. So it just looks like a little slightly flattened ball that I'm going to put there. Once we get all of those on here, we're going to want to bake those cookies for 12 minutes. You're going to need to, in the meantime, prepare your marshmallows. You're going to be cutting the marshmallows in half, so make sure that you have those marshmallow halves ready for the next step. All right, so this is at the 12-minute mark. I am now going to take, these are the marshmallows cut in half this way, and I'm going to put them on the center of each one of these. And once I have all of those on the center, oops, thought I had that one sticky side down. I try to put them sticky side down so that they'll stay in place better. Maybe it doesn't work that well. I don't know. This is only my second time making these. And once I have all of those in place, then I'm going to return the pan to the oven for an additional 3 minutes. Once you have pulled these from the oven, you're going to want to let them sit on the baking sheet for about 2 to 3 minutes before transferring them to your wire rack to cool completely. All right, so now we're going to make the icing part that's going to go on these. These have cooled, and I'm putting my rack over the cookie sheet so that whenever I go to do the glazing part, that I'll have something to catch where I inevitably will go over the edges of the cookies. So in my bowl, I've got a half stick, which is 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm going to need to melt that, so give me a second to melt that. To my melted butter, I'm going to be adding 2 cups of powdered sugar. So I've got 1 here and 1 more. I'm not going to worry about it being totally perfect because we can always adjust it if we need to. 1/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we need 1/4 cup of hot water. Give me a second for that. I already had the water coming out of my tap pretty hot, so I think it should be enough. All right, so let's see what happens when we whisk all of that together. Way more sauce than we're going to need. We do only have 46 cookies and a few less because my son and my husband decided to try them before they were iced, which is fine. I told them they could. All right, that looks beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to drizzle some of that icing across each one of these cookies. I usually do something along those lines. And if you want to, you can add a couple of little decorations. It's not entirely necessary, but I thought I'd put a couple of fall leaf things on there just to make it festive. We're going to do that, and then we will let these cookies set for 30 minutes before trying them, and then we will see you at final plating. All right, and here we are at final plating. So these have set. This isn't all of them, of course. I just only wanted to put ones on here so it look a bit nicer. But I am going to give it a taste test. I am the only one in the house that hasn't had one of these yet. So let's see how they are. Oh, yeah. That is so yummy. It is like having hot chocolate. It really has that flavor. Wow. I couldn't remember exactly how these were from the last time I had made them, but I'll definitely make these again. These are really good. And I hope that you'll try them too. So thank you again for joining me for another episode of Cuisine Michel. Please be sure to tell your friends about this and subscribe and leave me a comment to tell me your thoughts and how you feel about hot chocolate cookies. And we'll see you next time. Au revoir.